super easy and fun.
3, 2, 1, go.
Alrighty, so the topic I wanted to talk about today is the idea of machloket, which is disagreements and disputes. So what do we think about them in Judaism? So let's say, listen, we all get into fights, right? With our friends, with our family, with our siblings. It happens sometimes. But some kinds of fights are productive and end up leading to a positive change or a positive outcome, while the others end up leaving both people just feeling bad and angry and hurt. So last week's Parsha, we talked about the rebellion of Korach. He and his congregation went to Moshe and Aaron, and they were questioning their leadership. They said, this is from a quote from the Pasuk in Bamidbar Tetzayin, "Vayikalu al Moshe ve'al Aaron, vayomru alehem, Rav lachem, ki kol ha'eda kulam kadoshim, betocham Hashem, umadua titnasu al kahal Hashem." So Korach and his congregation went to Moshe and Aaron, and they said, listen, why do you think you guys should get all the power? Do you think that you're holier than the rest of Bnei Israel? So even though their initial claim that the entire nation is holy, that might be a good cause. Maybe they're right. But at the same time, we see from the rest of the complaint that they didn't come from a place of kavod, of respect. Instead, they're just revealing their true motives, that they just want to get more power for themselves, and that it's really not all that sincere. Pirkei Avot also describes these two different kinds of conflict. There are two terms. The first is machloket shehi l'shem shamayim, which is a conflict that is for a higher purpose. What does that mean? That through the conflict, even though people don't get along, which is fine, you aim to be closer with God. Whereas the opposite of that would be she'ena l'shem shamayim, that it's selfish, right? You're not trying to get close to God. All you care about is yourself. You're not trying to see the other person's perspective. So the Mishnah Pirkei Avot brings two examples to help us understand this idea a little bit further. For machloket lo l'shem shamayim, where you're just being selfish, they bring the example of Korach, which is what we just discussed, right? Because when they came to talk to Moshe and Aaron, they came from a place of disrespect. They were trying to put down the other side. Whereas when we talk about machloket l'shem shamayim, where it's for a higher purpose, where you're trying to connect with God, the Mishnah brings a totally different example, that of Hillel and Shammai. If you guys have heard of Hillel and Shammai, you would know that they always disagree. The Gemara talks about how they fight about literally every single issue. There are only a couple where they're on the same side. One of the most famous examples is about Hanukkah candles. What's the right order of how to light them? What about the right number? Like on the first day, should I light 1 candle or 8 candles? But yet, even though they disagree and they have a radically different worldview, they come to the discussion from a place of respect. And they're trying to achieve the same goal. They're both trying to figure out what the true halacha is and what Hashem would want. And that's why, even though, in general, we follow the opinion of Hillel, it's still important to learn both sides of the argument. That's why the Gemara includes it. We learn the minority opinion all the time, because it's important to learn about the process, especially if it's an argument that's l'shem shamayim. So, from this comparison of Korach and his congregation and the altercation they had with Moshe versus the way that Hillel and Shammai interact with each other, I think what we can learn here is that the process is just as important as the outcome. So the next time you're in an argument, whether it's something that is really silly or something that you care more about, it's important to remember that both sides usually have a valid opinion. So I think we should all make a little bit more of an effort to understand where they're coming from. And when you argue, try to make it come from a place of l'shem shamayim, and most of the time we can work together to find a compromise.
2, 1.